Hello, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining us for our now 2 months in a row, our Partner First webinar. Some of the things we're going to discuss today is going to be along the lines of giving our partners the competitive growth advantage. Giving our partners the competitive growth advantage with Partner Central. If you'd like to see any more of the content that we have provided, by all means, please go onto our YouTube channel at OITVOIP. You'll see everything from this Partner First webinar to previous ones we had. Actually, just a month ago, we had Datagate, which talked about ConnectWise billing integrations, when it comes down to VoIP. Also, CCS 2020 is on there. And so, actually, though, not to keep rambling on about us, I want to make sure I introduce the man of the hour. It is a good friend of mine. He actually came to us with a very good option to how to enable our partners. He's here to discuss today, and don't hold it against him that the fact that he did move from the UK and now he currently lives in New York. He fits in very well. Him and his family, 2 daughters, known him well for years. Also, don't hold against the fact that he is a Liverpool fan, FC fan, and he did mention the fact that that's real football, not soccer. But let me introduce Webinfinity's founder and CEO, James Hodgson. Hello, James. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Sean. Hey, great to be here today.
Thank you. So, because you are a huge soccer fan, or I'm sorry, football fan, I wanted to add my favorite team on here. So I put the image up there for you to see who my favorite team is.
I think I have technical difficulties at the moment. I lost the screen share.
So again, thank you for being part of this. Thank you for coming on to the Partner First webinar. We have a lot of partners that ask a lot of questions and how we can work with them and how we can enhance the experience. Now, you had a chance to be on our Cloud Connection Summit 2020, where we introduced and launched our Partner Central portals for our partners. And a couple of things that they mentioned immediately to us that we've heard for years and we've always tried to address is how to help them increase and accelerate their opportunities, how to work in a frictionless environment with their vendor, how to access multiple, whatever they need when they need it, knowing what to say, when to say, how to say it type things. So, we came to you, you provide us a solution. So I'd like a little bit more your take on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's great to have this conversation, because I think the interesting thing about the world that I live in is that we have a client base which is vendors, manufacturers, the actual brands that are out there supplying the stuff that we all sell. But our actual customer, our user, is in volume terms the partner more than it is the vendor. So one of the things that we've been trying to push a lot at Webinfinity is, how do you actually get the mindset to be partner first and to actually create everything you do and all the investments you make around simplicity and usability for partners, and not look at this quite so vendor centric? Because I learned, through experience of talking to a lot of partners and through my customer experiences, that it's not easy, because every one of these manufacturers does it differently. You have to go to 10 different portals to engage with manufacturers. Different portals are laid out different ways. They have different features. And so much of the buying power in this is about what's good for the vendor and not necessarily what's good for the partner. So one thing that's refreshing with what OIT is doing and with Partner Central and everything else is it aligns with this view we have of putting the partner first and trying to create really impactful digital engagement and make that the key to the project, not reducing overhead on your operational processes. So it was great for me to see how you and the team are investing in the partners first and foremost, and using, technology like Webinfinity to help with that, really. So, that's a starting point for me in terms of how we're working.
Absolutely. So, and you mentioned other companies. So what kind of companies do you work with today? What are your top companies you work with that help them enable your partners?
Yeah. So let me share with you a few things on Webinfinity. So as I said, this is all about a modern way of taking on this problem of engagement. And our client base, I'm just showing a few up here. There's more, use cases on our website. You can see the link below, but it's really a nice mix of different brands and organizations. We've tended to work so far with a relatively small number of highly invested manufacturers who are sort of leading the change that's needed in this area. But we have got some, some great customers who've got some pretty big ecosystems. We've been working with companies like NetApp and Epicor and F5 Networks more recently, to really deal with those big, high scale partner engagement challenges. But what we're starting to learn is this is a lot more about helping an ecosystem be successful. And there's lots of different people in that ecosystem. It's not just making life easy for a classical MSP or reseller. It's how do we help affiliates do business more easily, or help our agencies or brand suppliers connect with us, or what about our internal teams? How do we support the channel managers who are responsible for driving sales with the partners and connecting these different ecosystem members together? And more recently, we've started to turn our attention more and more to this. We've got some really interesting projects going on with big GSIs and corporate resellers like Infosys and Atea in Norway, and what we're doing with ConnectWise, who I know you guys know very well, around bringing more of a multi-vendor concept to this. And one of the big things we want to solve over time, and we're getting there day by day, is creating a standard. Having a situation where it isn't different with every manufacturer, that actually the supply and demand is consistent. So if somebody's trying to register a deal or send out a lead or give you a marketing document, it's all done in a consistent way, and you can almost switch between different vendors. So we're now touching, tens of thousands of partners through our customers, and they all get this same consistent experience. And we're trying to make that, an ever increasing theme in what we do, because our technology, is one platform across all our customers. We don't custom implement it for different organizations.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the key takeaways for us was, we've been doing this for 20 years. We've been in business 20 years. So obviously lots of technologies are involved. So you end up running the potential disparate systems, right? Which we never really had that issue so much, but we do work with multiple platforms to support our own internal business. And one key takeaway was we wanted to make sure for the partners, they didn't have to worry about any of this stuff and be constantly involved into one place, one single source of truth. And that was really big, just to, again, limit the friction that they would have with us and be able to expedite all their business needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And the company slogan, I put it on the front of my sales decks, is, any fool can complicate something, but it really does take a genius to keep it simple. I've stolen that from somebody, but this is all about simple digital engagement. And one thing we've learned from working with all sorts of different companies and working, particularly to try and solve the needs of the partners, is that if you can change the mentality in all of this to a want to instead of a must do, what we heard again and again is I'm forced to go and register these deals with my vendors. I'm managed by dashboards across 20 different manufacturers. That's not a pleasant experience. Whereas in our consumer lives, we engage with technology now that we enjoy using, and there's so little engagement because of that. The kind of that bad job that's done with with most of these portals, that we're really focused on trying to change that. And if you do it, everybody wins, because the partner's more productive. It's easier for them to do business, and they'll gravitate towards the vendors that do a better job, like you guys are, with partner engagement online. But it then increasingly drives, more results for the manufacturer as well. So I think that the companies that are getting that, making life easy for their partners, are going to win. Are really going to have the key to this game moving forward, particularly as so much of our business has been done online now. And we've boiled it down to 5 or 6 things that, if you do them all well in tandem, they can make a huge difference to the relationship you can have between your different ecosystem members. And all of these are applied across all our clients. It's just different people work in different ways. But our belief is everything has to be really personal. You have to put everything in front of the needs of the user. So if somebody just needs 7 sales sheets and 1 button to do a quote request and simple access to a couple of different tools internally, that's all they should get. Less is more in that sense. So if you can automatically align that supply and demand, it's going to be way better than just turning on access to all kinds of tools and resources that the partner doesn't even ever want to use. That's key.
Sure.
The other thing is just-in-time enablement. We see that as moving at the speed of the business, not somebody having to wait, but getting real-time support, updates, alerts, notifications, and doing business day to day in a digital experience, not logging into a portal once a month. And also driving self-service, letting people come in and do what they want to do, engage with the people they need to, and not be held up by the friction of the technology. Because if you can really connect people in a frictionless way, they'll just go make it happen themselves. They don't have to pick up the phone. They don't have to send an email anymore. And that simple management of that supply and demand is really important to getting successful engagement with partners.
Actually, and Matthew Connolly with OIT had mentioned about personalization is key. I don't think we can agree more on anything like that. It's also about having the right content, right time, and be able to personalize it.
Absolutely, and it's an ever-changing game, really. So we launched, is it a couple of months ago that your Partner Central was launched through Webinfinity? Is that right, or 2 or 3 months?
Yes, we went through our launch with you for the coming out party was July.
Right, and I like to say to people that the project starts on the day of the launch. Not is over on the day of the launch, because a lot of people build these portals and they're like, doesn't it look nice? Doesn't it work great? But actually, what's really impressive about the way you guys are approaching it, and what I think we can do together for the partners, is it's constantly going to iterate and improve based on what you're learning, new things you're bringing to the market, new campaigns you're running, investments you're making in other technologies that can help the partners, and you'll bring it all together in a one-stop shop that's only going to get better from here. So today we're going to talk about the key things that you're offering right now, and we're going to highlight some of those benefits and make sure everyone's aware of what Partner Central is bringing today. I'm also going to spend some time going through how best to use some of this so that you can get more self-service and value out of Partner Central. But key is to touch on what next too. We've got a lot of ideas and innovation that we're going to bring to this, and it's just a start. You're seeing good engagement so far in the portal, but it's still early days, and we need the input of our users, our customers here, to help us get this right. So it's an ever changing game, and it doesn't stop here. There's lots more to come.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, I know that so a couple of things to take note on is we're obviously not going to do a slide presentation only. We're going to actually get into the portal and start showing you all how this operates. And with that said, though, I want to make sure you guys take note that we've done everything in our power here to ensure that you have a seamless ability to work with us to get all the resources you need. And James will go through and display a lot of this stuff. But also, any questions you have during the course of this on best practice or what you can do to improve your own, you definitely need to make sure you bring this to the attention. So we're going to get into this now. And again, this is a live instance of our Partner Central that we give to all of our partners. A couple of things that, as we go through this, is that these portals are built both for channel partners and white label, and we'll showcase exactly the experience for this today.
Great. So just a couple of things high level on before I show you some of the key features. So all of this is browser based, but it's device and system agnostic. So one thing that you'll find is if you get used to using Partner Central, it won't matter whether or not you hit it on your iPad or your cell phone or anything in between. We've built the user experience here not as a website, it's as a component-based, high-performance, single-page application that renders and re-renders around whatever it is you're trying to do at the time. And this gives you the consistency of experience across different modes of operation, and also everything will just work within that context. So if you're trying to get to transactional content, on your phone or whatever, you'll find that everything works great, however you're hitting it up in terms of your browser, etc. So really one of the key metrics for us of performance is, does it load instantly? Does everything work perfectly? Does anything ever hang or fail? That's not good enough. So we're constantly investing in that engagement performance, which means you shouldn't have a bad experience anytime you're in Partner Central. It's all about making it easy. And on that subject, a lot of the design so far, particularly in this launch phase, is really to do the basics well, not trying to overcomplicate it. There aren't too many features or functions, but what the team at OIT have done here is to really highlight the most important things and curate them relevant to role. So you'll see more and more personalization as the portal matures. But for right now, what are the things you need help with? Getting quotes in easily, getting them turned around fast, getting support on deals, being able to get access to marketing information very easily, and also access to all of the different technical features and aspects that OIT is offering behind the scenes. And it's really built with that in mind. There's nothing here that shouldn't be obvious. You just click on the thing that's in front of you on the homepage and go from there. So let's start with an example of the quote request process. And this, I know, was the top priority for Sean and the team, because the ability to quickly turn around sales opportunities and to provide a commitment to supporting you in that was obviously the number one priority that was highlighted for the launch of the portal.
Absolutely. We found that a lot of our partners, channel partners that come to us, they come in and are looking for, they have an opportunity immediately. They're not sure how to work with it yet. They want to know that we're going to be able to support them. And as we all know, velocity is key. Being the first one to be able to respond with a quote gets you in the door a lot of times. It actually helps you close the deal.
Yeah, so with that in mind, how can we make this easy? So if you press this button here, we curated a quote request dashboard, which will show you how easy it is to actually make a new request, which is the big button you're seeing here, but also track the status. So whatever is happening behind the scenes here, and obviously there's a CRM system that's running all of this internally, the front end of it is super simple. And we just use what was already there today rather than reinvent the wheel. There was already a quote request form and process that OIT was following, in terms of being able to take these submissions into the system. And the ability to just submit that kind of basic information and to process it on the back end was seen as as number one goal, as I said, for the team. So when requests are being submitted into the system, you'll be asked to fill out a certain amount of basic information, collect some notes and so forth, but then the display of these different quotes, what stage they're at, where they are in terms of them going through the pipeline, is being handled, through this portal, fully integrated. So you don't have to jump out of here and go to a different system or load up a CRM view as such. And
So
Sean, you made a particular commitment to the speed of turnaround on this as well, correct?
absolutely, yes. Turnaround on the quote to get it to the prospect is extremely crucial. Especially most people that are looking into a phone service, maybe you may be one of these people. Is a lot of times your contract is ending, and you might need it within the next few weeks. So knowing what kind and knowing what your budget is going to look like to spend is extremely important. Also, real quick here, Arian01 had asked the question about how often is the portal updated. Are we talking in regards of content? One thing is it's updated every day. We are constantly engaged in this portal, making sure the most up-to-date pieces of collateral in there. We're constantly enhancing the experience for the partners, trying to find it to be as easy as possible and simple as possible as we can. So we do ask for feedback from the partners, the things that they would like to see and how we can help them to generate more business, period. So I hope that answered your question. If not, feel free to add more to your questions. But go ahead, James, I'm sorry.
Hey, no worries. So just looking a little deeper, I mean, this is, the basic mechanics of managing quote requests. But the other thing you'll see, and I just moved into the Sales Hub section, again, the team here at OIT have thought about how do we put everything that could help support a sale and a deal together so that it's really simple to interact with the business. So yes, the request itself was important, but also the resources that can help with the sales cycle. The key information on something like the sales process has been curated and delivers as a kit. If you want sales training, you can do it right from the portal here, or if you're looking to run an onboarding call or order an NFR. And the other thing around sales content is curation to make it really easy to find it. You can see these widgets here. Everything's just point and click on this portal. So if you're looking for a presentation deck or a particular sales tool or by a manufacturer like Poly, just press the button. You'll see the resources appear in the feed. It's super simple to preview or download any resource just by hitting the buttons on the screen. And it's all about removing friction. The download works just like Google. And back to the point of how often is this changing? There's a constant commitment being made here to curate and push and present up-to-date and relevant information, through the storefront, basically. And the OIT team is doing that, every day. So it really is just rinse and repeat for other types of features in the portal. And let's just move into the marketing hub here. And hopefully you can see across the top, you can see the different sections, sales, marketing, and technical. That's been, the simple navigational structure used to lay out the different areas. But the My Hub, the homepage, will bring all of this to you, from a single click, when you log in, based on your role. So if we move into the marketing hub, you can see that it's the same usability. You don't have to learn any new patterns of devices, but different use of content here. So you can see we've got campaigns curated, marketing brochures, hardware brochures, marketing content by manufacturer. All of it's just laid out for easy access. And Sean had mentioned before that this is supporting, both channel and white label content. So if you click on something, for example, here, like the white label flyers, you can see everything's been laid out. All the different brochures have been grouped and put into categories. Again, this is, being done to make your life easier. And again, it's point and shoot in terms of being able to download or access any type of resources. This is going to, start to include co-brandable resources in a future stage. But again, now with this framework established, it's very easy, to just come to what it is you need in here and get, one-click access. Again, in terms of different brochureware, different information that's being pushed out. One other thing I'd like to highlight here is you can subscribe to content very easily, and I'll show you later how you can also create your own subscriptions. So you can see here we have brochures of a certain category. You can see when these are being updated and added to. If you want to get notifications, there's a big button you'll see in these feeds that says subscribe. If you hit that button at your individual user level, you'll be opted into that feed. So as the team adds something in this category, you'll get an email alert on a frequency you choose, and you'll get an in-app notification. And you can do that for any type of content, whether or not it's sales, marketing, technical. It could be subscribing to new leads, whatever you want to do. But we find this works so much better in terms of driving the experience you would like, because rather than have to log in and try to find stuff, the team can let you know as and when it's made available. And you only have to opt into the stuff that's important to you. So if you're not dealing with certain manufacturers or types of content, clearly don't use the subscription, but you can use that feature whenever it makes sense to do so.
So when they personalize the content, James, what's their position? What type of content do they use to personalize, or what makes them want to personalize the content? What's the benefit?
Well, I think, as much as you, Sean, on your side can try to work out who's who in the ecosystem and say, right, we've got certain types of partners and we should push this kind of content. We all know our own needs and role better than anybody else. So by self-selecting, you can then further refine what it is that's actually important to you. So on the OIT side, the job here is to try and lay everything out in an easy to find, very logical way so that data sheets, brochures, etc. are all organized. But then in the subset of what's really valuable, you can make the decision. So, it's up to you then to decide which things to subscribe to and not to. So I would liken that very much to how our consumer platforms work. You can have plenty of Instagram feeds or Pinterest boards or whatever, but it's you who decides which are the ones that are useful from your own perspective. And it's very similar here. You just basically make those decisions based on discovering content and hitting the subscribe button.
So it would be safe to say for our partners, if they have a specific vendor they like, if they want to, for instance, Yealink, if that's who they sell hardware-wise and they have the best relationship with and whatnot, they're going to want to subscribe to their content to receive all the content we update with, along with any other choice assets that we provide in the marketing world of just marketing. Just as far as marketing, whatever features or whatever there is need be.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I think that you guys have done a great job is organizing it to make it simple. So a lot, by thinking about how to group the content and organize it by the manufacturers, that's taking a step away and bringing in other people's content effectively, so that it doesn't mean that they have to take another leap out of your portal to go and find some of this information. I think that's just making life easy for all concerned.
Absolutely. And so would they be able to, when they subscribe to this, they're able to, I know that we had talked about having the ability to have favorite content or topics or whatnot, so they can actually have the ability to save these things so they have instant access to the regular reusable content?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, if you look at the buttons on the bottom here, they're very similar to sort of social media type buttons and so forth, and just play with them, hit them and see what they do. So for example, here, if I've got a consistent set of tools on the bottom of this link, that's an ability to favorite it. So if I want to add that to collections, I built my own here. So I've got standard favorites, but I've created a collection for my own favorite content or direct flyers. So it's simply a question of hitting the button. It'll add content to your favorites, and you can build folders that will store different types of content from the portal. There's things like sharing content. So if I hit this button and I want to share a resource with somebody else inside my organization or with somebody on the OIT side, I can find that person in the share feature. I can link that with a simple comment, and that will send the endpoint link and an email notification to one or many people. There's a recommend button, which allows you to highlight content you like. That helps with the algorithm of serving the best content to different people, like a like in Facebook. And there's a comment stream. If you want to make a comment to the person who posted the content, ask a question, collaborate maybe with your own team, you can do that through here too. So there's nothing here that will seem unfamiliar to you if you're using any type of consumer product. And again, coming back to the less is more approach, it's not complex stuff. It's super simple. There are a couple of advanced things, like you can change the layouts if you want, view things in lists instead of cards or whatever. But anybody who can use any kind of consumer software should be able to, easily work out what's going on with this portal, because it's built to be super simple, basically.
Absolutely. Oscar, how do you get access to the portal? If you're a partner of ours, you'll have access to this. If you haven't yet, you can see we put it up in the banner, contact Matt at OIT.co. He will be the guy that can take care of you. And actually, Matt's even put his email address for you anyway. There you go. Matt really can't wait to talk to you, Oscar. So please work with him.
And actually, access raises a good point as well. This portal is one of the very few that's always on. And what I mean by that is, once you're logged in, it's like Facebook and LinkedIn and those things. You don't have to keep logging back in. And if you get a link from the portal, you click on it, the browser will forever remember you unless you physically terminate your session. And that's true in email. If you're using Chrome, it will remember all your passwords. That sounds like a trivial thing, but that makes such a big difference when it comes to engaging with vendors. If you're trying to remember 20 passwords and 20 different logins for different manufacturers, I tell you, this just kills the adoption. So the login is like, do it once and you'll forever be in. You just have to create your credentials the first time, and then that's it. Okay.
And talk about accessibility too. We talked about having the ability for them to access our team for certain needs as well. So if we can touch on that a little bit, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I was going to highlight a couple of things. So one is, this will not just be tools and features offered by the portal itself. We're looking to integrate, and have already started this process, all of the other tools and resources that can be made available to you as partners. And Sean, I know we're not going to talk about it today, but one of those marketing tools is a really great platform called Spark Your Channel, which will provide partners with the ability to customize and co-brand video and other media content and share it with your customers through social media and so forth. So that's fully accessible through single sign-on. There'll be campaigns published through here that allow you to access Spark. And I believe, Sean, there's a dedicated webinar on this topic next week or 2 weeks from now. Is that right?
2 weeks from now, we will be bringing Heather Margulis back, because she loves hanging out with us, with Ray, myself, and she really loves hanging out with Keith Nelson. And so yes, we'll be talking about Spark Your Channel, and we will do a much deeper dive on the marketing best practices, especially through social, and how to track those things.
Great. And then going into access to teammates, I mean, you already saw on the Sales Hub, the ability to schedule sales demos and so forth. But let's move to the Technical Hub, which is a really important section. And again, I think OIT have done a great job here of simplifying access to a number of different resources, things like system status dashboards, the university content, etc. And one of that is to people. How do I get support from different perspectives if I'm looking to get an engineer or set up a new user or anything else? So again, super simple. Just click whatever it is that appears on the page, and you can see this is a direct window in to book an engineer. You can select a specific person or employee, do calendars right here. And that's a technique that's used in many areas. I think there's a number of different ways you can engage and contact the OIT team through here. We're also looking at like a partner support function, online chat. Those are things that we're moving towards within the portal as well. And again, it's also self-service stuff. So if you want to get the latest view of something like the system status dashboard, simply click here and it'll give you direct access to monitoring reports and that kind of stuff. And
yeah, so you mind if I jump in here for a second?
Of course, yeah.
One thing we wanted to do with this in this area for everybody is give the ability for you guys to do everything you need to run your business without needing us, if at all possible, right? One of the big questions that we have from all of our partners is, we obviously can't have the problem where they have their service go down. So we gave you guys access to a status page that's constantly running here. It updates all day, every day, and it shows you our status as far as uptime. That's a very big key point for most people, because again, there's been bad experiences out there, and we want to ensure you guys that we've done everything in our power to ensure that your uptime is always 100%. As a matter of fact, you can see here, this is going to refresh in 9 seconds here, but the last 30 days, the last 7 days, and the last 24 hours, we've been at 100%, 100%, 99.997. So this is complete transparency to you all, so you know that you're working with the right provider. If you want to close off of that real quick. The whole point behind this also, the technical hub, is you can see we have things between VoIP University, which we have over 7,000 pieces of documentation there, on everything from hardware to services to whatever you can think of. We've placed in here, and if there's something you cannot find, we always want you guys to tell us what we're missing. If you want to close off of that. The other thing is to talk about is access to MFAX, Billing Center, things of that nature. That's all listed right there. And no matter what version you're on, V2 or V1, you have access to your portal right from there as well. Something to take note is the porting, the onboarding, the whole entire partner experience is all in here. So you don't have to keep going from portal to portal to portal. That's the whole point behind this.
Yeah, and again, there's a thematic grouping between stuff. So again, if you get down here and you see, okay, we're now in a content window and you're looking for webinars, but it's always the same. And this is the issue, with consistency, whether or not you're clicking on a sales opportunity, you're clicking on a widget to get content, you're clicking on campaigns coming out of a different system. Our role here is just to manage that simple supply and demand and give you a consistent experience so that it's not confusing and complicated, and you're not wasting time trying to find things in a portal.
Absolutely. And Oscar there, let me put that back up here for 1 second. Oscar Rodriguez had asked, can I use the portal from my phone? I believe you kind of touched that a little bit earlier. If you can maybe reiterate.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've spent significant time optimizing around phones, all devices, etc. So we'd love to, to see more and more of you, working on whatever device it is that makes sense to you. But there's nothing that won't work. If you're looking for sales leads, or you want to change the designs on your phone or get to data, all the features, all the functions will still work. It should load and perform, instantly. And we're using, phone notifications and other things to make sure we can connect with you there as well. Okay.
Yes, real quick here, Richard. Yes, you can ask for things to be added. If we, one thing we pride ourselves on is listening to the partners. If you see something that's going to benefit you all, you gotta let us know, and we'll be happy to entertain it, obviously within reason. Because if you're Keith Nelson, it's probably some ridiculous request, so we'll probably ignore his. But the rest of you guys, by all means, we always listen to our partners to see what's going to give you a competitive advantage. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, one thing we can move towards as well is you can also do private sharing through the portal. This is, if OIT, for example, wants to share content specific to a partner, or if it's content created by other partners to be shared, back with OIT. So there's more to come in that sense, but adding and curating different types of resources. Think of this as more of a workspace than a website, and it should hopefully move any kind of engagement off of email and out of unstructured methods, and just keep it simple in this kind of back and forth you have with your team here at OIT. And there'll be more to come here. This is a great start, but I think that kind of private sharing, ability to add things specific to relationships, all of that, is something that we can leverage here.
Absolutely. Are there any questions that anybody else wants to ask here? Because we would love to dig into more, but we want to keep this as easy as possible for you all today. And as James already mentioned, in 2 weeks, we will be back up with Spark Your Channel, which we'll be able to talk a little more about this and that. Although one thing I'd like to do, if we can, real quick, James, if we can go back into the quote request dashboard. Again, I think this is a highlight here to talk about total transparency. Okay, what types of things are in the portal? Actually, let's answer Richard's questions first. I think it's better if you can go back just to the hub. So when you're looking at the hub here, the total hub, first off, you get your own access to this, right? But the things that are in this portal range from sales, support, operations, marketing, technology, access to our team, all the content that is involved in all that. So whether it's marketing or it's sales content, it's in there for you guys. I don't know if you might have got on late, Richard, but we did record this. This will be on YouTube later at OITVOIP YouTube channel, so you can definitely check it out. But you will see all this here. So again, and even the manufacturer's content, you can see down below on brochures, you see Yay-Link and Snome and Poly being represented there. So we've given you ability to actually use their content for marketing purposes, but also our VoIP University that has the 7,000 documents that you can actually pull up your data sheets or whatever it is you need from this. And there's also, I think James had also went into this a little bit, there's a simple search for whatever you are looking for on the portal. So you just got to click for the search itself.
Yeah, and actually, I was just going to show a couple of the tips and tricks of how to kind of find things for yourself, and search is one of them. But yeah, I mean, one of the easiest ways to get to whatever you want is through, you know, search and filtering. So you see when you hit the search, it'll show you first off what curated experiences there are. So if you're trying to get back to the sales or marketing hub, it's a different way of navigating. But if you want to just find something, you can do it from almost any perspective. So as you start typing, it'll work a bit like Amazon, where you can just run a keyword, or it'll start to guide you to suggestions. So you can see here it's suggesting I might be looking for a manufacturer like Yay-Link. If I search for that, the search results will appear in this overlay, so I can, you know, go back and forth. I can preview documents or have a look at things without leaving the search, so you don't have to keep running searches that take 10 seconds each or whatever. And you see at the top, there's push button filters that will automatically create themselves around what it is you're looking at in the search results. So if I've searched for that manufacturer, but now I want to look for a particular type of product, I can filter it further. If I'm trying to look by resource type, so in this case, just for data sheets, I can filter it down here, and you can see the number of results is changing based on those filters. And I showed you earlier the subscriptions, you know, how you can create subscriptions to content. You can also create your own feeds to subscribe to. So if you've run a bunch of search queries, if you like, to get to these different resources, you don't want to do that again necessarily. So you can hit this button here, which is at the top of the search results, called create an interest. Give it a name. So this is like creating your own feed. So if I'm saying this is a Yay-Link hardware data sheet feed, and create that, that will create a dynamic call for content. So this is now my own feed that I created and subscribed myself to. That means as and when something new gets added, which fits within that feed, I'll be notified and updated. And I can also come back to this feed at any time and just, you know, get to it without having to search in the portal again. So I would suggest that when you're looking for stuff, if you're repeating searches, or you're trying to find information on a regular basis, or you want to set up your own feeds, just take a few minutes to do this the first time you use Partner Central, and it'll come to you. You know, you don't have to go looking anymore. And the search is, you know, is just going to change as more stuff gets added, and will automatically filter, you know, like an e-commerce website would. Another thing that's just worth pointing out here is the left navigational system. So this is the same across all Webinfinity customers. You can see it has different buttons here. So the inbox is one thing. That'll be all of the alerts and updates and deep links back to things that are relevant to you. That'll be alerts on your subscriptions and notifications. You know, if new things are happening, you'll get notified through this inbox. If you want to clean it up, you can just hit all red and it will flatten it back, but you can always get back to a list of your red notifications. And then you'll see down here things like subscriptions. So if I have subscribed to feeds, as we've been doing on this call, this is where you can find them all again. You know, so any of the feeds you've subscribed to or created yourself, you can see all of the different feeds. If you click on any of those feeds, it'll take you straight back to that. So in this case, all the things I favorited or added to my library in previous visits. And the other one I'll highlight here is profile management. If you want to change your own profile, change your picture, set your default views, change your language, you know, once we get to that, email notification frequencies, do you want things on and off? The profile will be where we put everything that's personal to you. And this is also going to change over time, because we'll be asking for more detail on role and behavior. And the more you personalize your profile, the better the portal will behave in terms of curating information around you. But it's just, you know, consumer grade kind of push button stuff, really. And all of it should be fairly self-explanatory if you just play with the menus, you know, try to see what's there. Not everybody's going to see the same things, but, you know, we'd be confident that everything in here is simple, consistent, easy to use. and hopefully just going to make life easier when you're dealing with anything OIT related.
Absolutely. So question that we had, and I'll answer this, Oscar. I know Matt already answered it too, but just for the public, if they didn't see the chat, the portals are no cost to our partners. If you're in a partner program with us, we have already made the investment. This is for you guys to do better, to be able to run your business without us bringing on all the other problems that you could possibly have in your day. So free of charge to you all. Just have to be a channel partner or a white label partner. I do want to go to what Sarah had mentioned here, which we were about to touch a little bit here. How do we track our quotes? Would you please go back into that quote request dashboard, Sarah? So when from day one, we built processes around all of this for you guys. When you're working with when you're working on opportunity, you're going to be appointed an account manager that's going to help you to facilitate business. They'll be your sales admin and support. Also, if you need help within this portal as well. But you'll it's very simple. You'll have access to this portal. You'll click on new quote request. You submit your request right through there. It'll ask you the series of information that's needed. It'll auto-populate your partner information first and foremost, but it then will go into asking you the series of questions between how many hosted seats are involved. Are there any hardware? Are they purchasing the hardware, leasing it? Whatever's going to happen. I mean, this is all just very simple stuff you do daily with your quote request anyway. But then you can see right below that you can see what quotes you've submitted. You can also see the quotes that have been sent. Would you mind clicking on that 22, James? And you can see what quotes have been sent over from our team to you, to your client. So you know what quotes have gone out. If you want to go on back, you can also see what opportunities you've won from it, and you can see what opportunities you've lost as well. This way, there's full transparency in what's going on, and you know what you should expect to do, or who you should follow up with even too. And keep in mind though that our team is constantly keeping you in the loop regardless, because you will be involved in communications to and from the clients. So you're never in the dark in regards to that. Also, one last thing that you can see on there, if you stay in that particular area, close off of that, but go back into the quote request dashboard again, please. We also, for the channel partners, you can see there's the commission tracker. You don't have to open that at all, James, right now, but this will take you in to see what you're actually going to be receiving in commissions too. Again, easy access to everything that's important, which is, facilitate business and also know what you're making on your business as well, and how to communicate best with us.
One other thing to highlight in this area is you see at the very top here, there's a widget with a two count here. So anything that's material in terms of ongoing status, like something waiting for approval or something you need to take action on, will highlight as what we call a key action. So that's like a notification that sits here, and you can see it's highlighted here too, that says, look, you've got two things in this status which you need to kind of keep an eye on. So there's an overall dashboard that will show you the status of everything, but when something's in mid workflow, maybe you haven't got the response back yet, or you have to resubmit it, or there's some kind of interim step, you'll always see it as the very first thing at the top of your homepage. And that's kind of key, because, we don't want you to lose track of the stuff that's really, that needs attention.
Absolutely. Aaron, thank you. I want to make sure I posted that. Aaron Simpson, we did a lot of work for it. We want to make it, we hope it, we expect to have to evolve as we go, and we'll improve where we see fit. And if people give us feedback, we're always happy to hear it too as well. Keith?
Can I also mention what we might be doing next? So
please.
One of the things that we can add to this now, having established the quote entry and management process, is curating support and resources around the specific opportunities too. So we're looking to say, if you've submitted a quote request, we'll serve the supporting assets and enablement content directly on the quote request form, including the ability to schedule help or support with the quote based on the products and solutions that you're quoting on. So that's another way we can further take the friction out of the content delivery side, because instead of then having to leave the quote request and go to the Sales Hub to find the content, we'll put it right there on the quote. And if you're looking for content to help support the deal, or you're looking for people to help support the deal, it'll be right there on the quote object itself. So that's something that'll be coming soon.
Absolutely. Richard, thank you for the compliments. You probably can thank James for the look and feel of it. And then thank Simon, and Simon is a regular. By the way, Simon is the one who helps me cheat Keith and Pick'em League. But Simon and Juan, two of our really good employees at OIT, they've been hugely instrumental in making sure that this looks the way it looks. Anything else we want to add here, James? We have, we have about 10 minutes left here. Anybody have any other questions?
I got one thing I'd like to say whilst we're waiting. One thing that would really help is to help inform some of what comes next, because we've got a bunch of things we're working on as a team here with OIT Group, and we'd love to know what is most important to the users, in this community, if you like. So there's a bunch of things that we think we could add that would be relatively material in terms of building on what's created here, but having some input on that would be great. So maybe this is a question for you first, Sean, and then for the community, but some kind of advisory conversation or online survey or feedback as to what to do next would really help us learn, because we're also getting deeper and deeper into this whole community of managed service providers and people who are working really on behalf of the customer, and knowing what to prioritize and how to invest the right features is key too. So any ideas on that, Sean, that we could explore with the partner team?
Oh, we would, yes, absolutely. We planned on putting a survey out. Ray Orsini, our CEO, he loves surveys. He loves actually writing them up himself too. It's one of his favorite things to do, is to hear people talk about what we can do better. You're welcome, Ray. Yeah, we would like to find out what you guys need, what you guys see, on two parts. One is obviously the technology experience, the look and feel and easy access to things. But two is also what could be in this. Yes, Ray, Aaron, you know what? Ray just confirmed what I said. Let me pull him. Well, depending on where you're from, it's data or data. So yes, Ray Orsini does love it. So we would love to be able to know more about what you guys are looking for and how we can improve and help you guys to grow your business, period. I see a question here from Sarah. If we want to get into this a little bit, will it support single sign-on? It already does in some cases. A lot of the widgets that you saw are objects that take you into other platforms. This way you don't notice you're even out of it. You can come back and forth. That was the important thing for us. It was extremely important for us to have that you guys could have access. So we are doing that. But then she also asked about ConnectWise Manage. If you didn't see early on, Webinfinity actively works with ConnectWise as a whole. They are doing a large marketplace to help with vendors and partners. And I don't know, maybe you want to talk a little bit to that, if you can.
Yeah, it's an emerging opportunity that we've been. For those of you who follow ConnectWise, we made an announcement at IT Nation last year actually about bringing a new initiative to the market, ConnectWise Engage, which is a multi-vendor framework that would enable single sign-on between manage and resources coming from the manufacturers and the partner portal content. So what's really fascinating about OIT is it's almost a sort of an early mover of helping validate that. It's one of a group of manufacturers and vendors that are kind of at the forefront of trying to do a better job at engaging their partners in a more effective way. And if we can put the jigsaw together to create a standard, as we're saying, across more members of the ecosystem and allow other vendors to leverage that same technique, so it's not just a private OIT experience, but the ability to switch between different vendors. ConnectWise is pioneering a lot of innovation in that area, and Webinfinity is joined in that effort. So you couldn't go into Manage today and single sign on to this from the ConnectWise sign in, but that is part of the ongoing conversation that we're having about how to start to connect services and infrastructure to make life easier across multiple vendors. So it's a watch this space there for now, but as it pertains to OIT, single sign-on back out from this portal to IT systems and services, that is already being supported, to Sean's point.
Thanks. Anything else here from anybody? Sarah, I think it'd be a good idea, because you have lots of questions and we're running out of time, and I think you have a lot of good questions. If you haven't reached out to Matt Connolly, you should please do so. Yep, and there he is. There's his information. If you, because we'd love to show you more of the portal itself, but also get your feedback on it. Anything else anybody else like to add here before we're going to give you guys back a few minutes, because I think we have a few announcements we want to make real quick, and other than that, I think we're wrapped up for today. I'm going to take it as a no, because everybody gets 10 seconds in my world to respond. I want to first bring up some stuff here in regards to our upcoming events, for one, and two, I want to thank Matt Connolly being all over the place. Ray Rossini for also, he's a busy man. He still came into this. Keith, thank you for, I don't know, being you. Oh, Richard, we do support Canada. Anyway, but upcoming events, we have coming up on the 20th, their Everything MSP webinar, which I'll be on with Dan Tomaszewski. I hope I said that name right. Where we're going to talk about how to add additional revenue streams on to increase profitability. I also, Keith, you're the 10th or 11th man, whatever it is. However, the next thing will be the Tech Bar next Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. We have Dennis Jaroveski from DevCore. I'm totally butchering his name. Also, we are doing a very big thing with a lot of our vendors in our community are very good people trying to help out with partners. So we are going to be having an MSP trick or treat. Lifecycle Insight is actually our co-sponsor of the co-promoter of this. They great team. If you haven't met Alex and Marnie yet, make sure you do so. But it's important that you definitely need to check them out. But this MSP trick or treat event is happening the last week of the month here. It is going to be where we're giving a ton of the vendors have all got together. They're going to be giving you some free content. There's no problems with you just logging into the page, finding what you want, getting what you need, taking it away, and being done. So please take advantage of the free content. We will be doing the next OITVOIP Partner First webinar. Will be with Heather Margulis from Spark Your Channel. That's on the 28th of this month at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard again. That'll be the continuation of this actual session. The only difference is James has a cooler accent, but I think Heather is a little smarter than both of us. So with that failed, I think this was great. Thank you, James, for coming on, taking your time out. We love working with you guys. Thank you for the education. Any last words you want to say, James?
No, thanks for having me, and just let me know when I get my first invite to the Tech Bar, because that looks like the best one.
It absolutely is. Okay, everybody, thank you for attending. Share this with your friends because we're really cool people. People love us, so please make sure you share it. Lots of good content. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, OITVOIP. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. Ciao.